All right, let's close today's episode. I actually have a true scary story of my own, which I would like to share, and it involves my two younger brothers, Kenny and Billy. I can't recall the exact year, month, nor day it happened. I just know it happened in the late 90s. I remember the event so vividly. I did confirm this with my brother a few days ago. I just wanted to make sure that this story was actually a real story and not just something made up in my memory. You know, when you're young, your memory gets distorted. So you tend to remember something, but it turns out it's completely the opposite or slightly different version of what you actually can have a recollection of. But I did confirm this with my brother a few days ago, and damn right, he definitely did remember it because when it happened, it was so damn terrifying. We kind of just wrote it off, like, oh, it's probably an earthquake, and then that was it. We never spoke of it the next day, and the day after, or several years later, up until a few days ago when I asked him, and he confirmed he definitely remembered. So I wanted to confirm this with my brother Kenny, just to make sure that this was an event that really did happen. 311 Francis Road, Richmond, BC. It was an apartment complex at that time. Richmond, BC is a very beautiful area, and it still is today. Unfortunately, if you were the less fortunate during those days, living in this specific complex is where you would end up. So there was a lot of immigrants who came from third world countries. We had a neighbor that he was a single father, raising three children on his own, so he ended up there as well. And just, I guess it was a pretty decent complex with just good people who I believe had some missteps or misfortunes along the way of their journey. So this is where we all ended up. I guess you can call it ground zero. Everyone starts off there. As you get older, you kind of branch off to better things and away from the neighborhood. Now, I did do some digging on this place where I used to live, and from what I gathered, it now is a fully renovated condo where you can actually purchase them and you can own them. The average going purchase price is well over 650K. It's a little over 1,100 square feet with two bedrooms and two bathrooms. That's actually the size of my current home. My home has, a basement and a main floor, but it has four bedrooms and two bathrooms with a big backyard. But I'm not paying anywhere close to that ridiculous purchase price. Now, I come from a big family of eight: my mom, my dad, my two younger brothers, an older sister, and two younger sister, including myself. So that's eight. Come from a big family. I share a room with my two brothers, while the other three girls shared a room together. We had a red bunk bed. They had a white bunk bed. The color doesn't matter. I'm just giving you guys the setting here. Now, my brother Billy and I would share the bottom bunk, and my brother Kenny would take the top bunk. One night, my brother Billy and I pulled a funny prank on my brother Kenny. We started to rock the bunk back and forth to scare Kenny. We would proceed to scare him by saying, "Oh, it's an earthquake. We're gonna be unalive." I'm just using the word unalive just because of YouTube censorship, but you get the idea. We are going to be unalive. Now, prior to this, we already experienced two earthquakes in Richmond. The funny thing about this earthquake is that they were both in the same year and they were actually months apart from each other. So that's how the prank started, was that we experienced these earthquakes. Now Kenny would scream and he would tell us to stop, and we would all start laughing. And me and Billy would do this a few times until Kenny said, guys, we should really go to sleep because mom and dad, they're gonna get mad. We're supposed to be sleeping like an hour ago, and here we are. We're still up. If they walk in that door, we're gonna be in big trouble. As I was about to pass out, and I'm not really sure if Billy was already gone by then, the entire bed, I shit you not, started to shake violently. Now, I'm going to remind you again that the three of us experienced 2 earthquakes. That was not an earthquake. And the thing about this bunk bed is that we play on this bunk bed. It's a playground. It's a car. It's a motorhome. It's a mountain. We're trying to climb up this mountain. We know how this bed works. We know it from top to bottom, bottom to top. We know how well it shakes. We know how strong it is. We know how sturdy it is. We know this bunk bed well. So me and Billy opened our eyes quickly, and we kind of just like got up. And the bed is still violently shaking back and forth. And my brother and I would just look at each other like, what the f is going on? And I can see the fear in Billy's eyes, my youngest brother. And we both had that same look on our face. And we both can identify what that look was, which is the expression of something is happening here and it's not an earthquake. Like, no words needed to be said. It was just the expression and the silence and the fear that we can see in each other's face. It spoke so loud. We didn't have to say anything. Once it stopped shaking, my brother Billy and I would just be silent looking at each other. And I swear to God, this silence felt like an eternity. And I started to think, I hope that was Kenny. And sure enough, a few silent seconds later, Kenny peeked his head to the side of the bed looking down at us. And then he asked us, was that you guys like shaking the bed? And we just looked at him with silence. And he's looking at us. And I said, no, bro, that was not us. We thought that was you. The three of us, our faces turned white. Because we all knew that that was not an earthquake. We know this bunk bed well. And till this day, we don't know what that was. During that time, we can't even replicate that shaking. We don't know how that bed was able to shake like that. We tried to like shake the bed to try to replicate that. And we were never able to replicate that. So, I mean, it was true. My brother Kenny was thinking the same thing we were thinking. We thought it was him. And we were hoping it was him. And he was thinking it was us. And I think he damn well knew that that was not an earthquake. And he was hoping that it was us. And when we all confirmed that it was like neither of us, we all just knew. No words needed to be said. It was just like we understood what was going on. Now, however, we did write it off that, oh, maybe it was just an earthquake, because like we can't identify what it is and we don't want to. It's just easier to just dismiss it because we don't understand what just happened. And that's what we did. We just dismissed it. We laid back down, we went to sleep, and we never spoken about it since. Now, I did go to school and ask people, yo, did you feel that earthquake yesterday? Because the first and second earthquake, everyone's talking about it at school. So I'm thinking maybe it is an earthquake. So I asked people at school, my friends, and they're like, what earthquake? Now, the first and second earthquake, like it was on the news. So I go home and I'm watching the news, just no mention of earthquake. So what's that? And then I asked my sister Vicky, like, yo, did you feel that earthquake yesterday? She's like, what? Earthquake? There's no earthquake. I didn't feel nothing last night. Was it an earthquake? Or was it a paranormal? Who knows? That was my true scary story that really did happen to me and my two younger brothers when we were younger. And if anyone is watching this that happens to live at 311 Francis Road, Richmond, BC, whether you're renting from your landlord or you own this condo, if you have experienced something similar, please drop it in the comments. I'm actually curious. And with that, that wraps up today's episode. Thank you for tapping in with us. Until next time, stay blessed in this world's mess. Go with God and more peace to the world. Back.